And we're live.
Okay. Hello, Stonebridge friends. Welcome to this enrichment discussion on the senior care options. We're going to be going through the entire continuum of care available to you when you are ready to choose one of these areas. First, I want to acknowledge the great work that has been done by the Blue Zone Committee. And they have already presented discussions on the psychosocial and emotional aspects of making a decision of placement or some kind of additional care for you because you do not or cannot care for yourself anymore. And so either you or your family needs to make a thoughtful decision about what happens next. And then secondly, they also presented the legal aspects of elder care. And that is a very extensive array of information. It's very helpful. So this is basically the third leg of that three-legged stool. And today we're going to talk about the details behind where you may want to go, when you want to go, and how you want to do it. So that is what we're going to discuss today. Now, a little bit of my background. I've been in healthcare all of my life. I started out as an RN, a BSN, and also have a master's in healthcare. I was a director of nursing of a 210-bed skilled nursing facility. And I also was a discharge planner for a 450-bed hospital, as well as a director of senior care for one of the big 8 accounting firms. So I've had a lot of background and experience in these areas, and hopefully I'll be able to share with you some insights that are helpful to you. Now, there is a handout available. I hope you picked it up. If you didn't pick it up, please go to the office and they may make you a copy. I hope they'll make you a copy of this 38-page handout, and it has all of the specifics that we're going to be dealing with today. So first, we're going to go to what is that continuum of care. And we're going to start with home care. And there's 2 kinds of home care: Medicare certified home care and non-medical home care. One is paid by Medicare and one is private pay. Then independent living facilities, assisted living facilities, memory care facilities, skilled nursing care, rehab services like PT, OT, and speech, hospice or end-of-life care, combo facilities. There are such things as independent and assisted living facilities, and independent, assisted, and memory care facilities, and then assisted living and memory care facilities. So there's a combo of different kinds of settings depending upon what your needs are. And then lastly, continuing care retirement communities, which are CCRCs. Now, per the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, at least 70% of individuals over the age of 55 will need some type of long care services at one point in time. So let's talk about Medicare certified health care facilities, or CHAs. CHAs, usually they are paid by Medicare, but you need a prior 3-day hospital stay. And you also need a physician's order and a plan of care for home care. And the criteria for that plan of care will be that you will need either RN care and CNA care, which is a certified nurse aide, or a combination of RT, that's physical therapy, OT, occupational therapy, or speech. And typically people who get Medicare services are homebound. That is, they can't leave their home. And usually Medicare is paid for up to 60 to 100 days. So it doesn't last that long. Now, the other type of home care is non-medical home care. That is when an individual has declining physical or mental abilities. They have chronic needs with personal care and the everyday activities of daily living, which are ADLs. And those everyday activities of daily living are mainly eating and moving and incontinence care and everything that is done on a routine basis. And if you need any of those, then you would be eligible for home care. And this home care can be provided by an aide or companion supervised by a qualified nurse. Now, what are the other criteria for the Medicare certified home health care facilities, agencies? Those conditions usually are issues where you were in the hospital, either medical or surgical conditions for stroke or Parkinson's or orthopedic surgeries or cancer, heart attack, something like that. Or if you need dressing change, IVs, tube feedings, drain care, injectable medications, or respiratory care, routine blood work, all of those areas are covered by Medicare. Now, in terms of the non-Medicare, the private pay home care, usually a companion is helpful, a home helper is helpful, and what they will do is help with meals and medications, taking you to the doctor, getting groceries and laundry, housekeeping, socialization, personal care again with the ADLs, the bathing and the eating and the dressing, the mobility and incontinence care. Also, they can help with supportive care, that's transportation and prescription pickup. Also, sometimes Alzheimer's care, dementia care, and assist with the ADLs to keep the individual safe is also done by routine home care that is private pay, as is supportive care for hospice and respite for caregivers. Now, in the packet for the Medicare certified home health care agencies, 9 are listed. And for the non-medical home care agencies, there are 23 listed. There's a huge number of non-Medicare private pay agencies. They come up and go very quickly. And I really want you to know too, that this handout may not be totally accurate because I have done it over a couple of years, updated it last summer, but things have changed. Things are constantly changing. And so it may not be totally accurate. There may be new ones that are out there that I didn't pick up yet. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. Now, the other issue is more than likely, most of the time you are looking for a non-medical home care service. You were not in the hospital, you don't have any skilled needs, you just need help with ADLs or supportive care. And so you're gonna wanna choose one of these 23 home care agencies. And how do you go about picking them? There's 23 and it's a very difficult process. I would suggest that you look through the list and you take a look at all those that are new, The newest ones are probably not where you want to go. For home care, you want to look at the oldest ones, those that have been around a while and that they have their systems in place and they can really recruit their staff in a very thorough manner, knowing who that staff is. They look at all of the background of that staff. Then they train that staff very thoroughly, and then they supervise that staff. And these home care agencies are credentialed. They have a lot of credentials on their license. So it's a very difficult process, and you need to really look hard before and talk to these agencies and interview some of these caregivers before you select the right one. Because you want to make sure that who comes in your house is going to be acceptable to you and that who will meet your needs in how you want things are done. So the next area that we're going to discuss is the cost. Well, how much does this cost? The National Care Planning Council says that home health aids can range from $10 to $25. And the professional workers like the RNs, PT, OT, speech can range anywhere from $70 to $100. Now, the John Hancock 2016 cost of care survey in Naples said that home health aides range between $20 and $22. There's really a plethora of different costs, as you will probably find out when you go cost this out. Usually $250 for live-ins, 24 hours a day, and usually $75 for OT, TT speech. And the other sources are ranging from $19 to $28 for CNAs, that's certified nurse agencies. Those people are different than companionship people and just homemakers. CNAs have an extra training. They are nurses' aides, but they are certified. So then on the next slide, we have a little diagram of the comparison of costs between homemaker, home health, assisted living, and nursing home. And you can see that as the level of care goes up, so does the cost. The homemaker companion is the lowest cost, followed by a home health aide, followed by assisted living, which is a facility, and nursing home. Huge difference between a nursing home and assisted living. Then the next slide talks about the comparison between homemaker and home health aide. And it compares Naples, National, and Florida. And you can see where Naples is the most expensive for both home care and home health aide. More expensive than the national rates and more expensive than Florida in general. We're living in a very high-placed area, and usually the cost of services are higher. Now, the next slide talks about independent living communities. Now, there are only 4 independent living facilities. There's not that many because other types of facilities, which are brand new, are creating more combo facilities than just one level of care. But for those that just have one level of care, and there are 7 of them, individuals are usually over 55, but there is no ADLs or meds given. The amenities and the costs vary. Typically, they do allow for spouses to join you and to have cars available there. Some provide meals, most do, but they do offer community activities and organized trips, central air, transportation, maintenance, and safety features in the bathroom. The two differences I can see between Stonebridge, which is a community, but it is not just for 55, it's for all ages. But the other main difference between independent is that there are safety features available, call lights, you can reach somebody late at night, there's a concierge service, and usually they provide you all the meals. The next level is assisted living. So we're just going up in the continuum in terms of level of care needs, costs, and amount of services you need. Now, assisted living are for individuals who are active and vital, but they can't not live alone. They can't live independently because they need assistance with either eating or bathing or toileting or dressing or mobility. This assisted living provides 24-hour supervision, 3 meals a day, housing, medication administration, typically cost about $3,300 a month. And the handout shows you 6 assisted living facilities. Next, we have memory care. Now, memory care is designed to meet the types of memory problems like Alzheimer's and dementia. And these facilities, and there's only 2 of them, the facilities that are focused in on memory care, and there's only 2. One is right around the corner off of Immokalee, and the other is down in Lely. Now, these facilities, although there are some other combos that have memory care services associated with them, they are not 100% memory care focused. 2 facilities are. Now, what's the difference? The memory care focused have a structured, fostered, familiar surroundings like small neighborhoods with indoor and outdoor circular walkways so people don't get lost. They provide safe spaces. They have specifically trained staff to promote safety and cognitive associations. And they typically cost around $5,000 per month. And they cost more for a private room. But these facilities are really geared up for safety and cognitive associations. I saw a little blurb on YouTube, and it shows a famous ballerina dancer who lived in the 60s, very famous, and she used to ballet to Swan Lake. And she was totally non-communicative, couldn't talk, wouldn't respond to anything or anyone. But the exception is when they played this song to this woman who used to be a famous ballet person, she immediately went into her ballet positions, which I think is incredible because it shows that you need to keep at trying to communicate with somebody who has Alzheimer's or dementia. You can't give up. You have to keep trying to get through because they will recognize and respond to one way, to something, one way or another. It's a very difficult situation for everyone. It's probably one of the most difficult situations to deal with for the family, for sure, and certainly for the individual who along the way of their Alzheimer's do know and understand that they're losing it. And so it's got to be a tremendous burden on anyone going through this. The next slide we have is a skilled nursing facility. Now, skilled nursing facility is paid by Medicare because everything that is being done for this individual requires either an RN or physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, audiology. This area is very strictly monitored by the feds. It usually only pays for 100 days, so it's not long-term. You can find it in a skilled, you can find it in a wing of a hospital, or you can find it in a specific skilled nursing facility. And we have on our list, we have, I think there are 3 or 4 skilled nursing facilities on our list. Now the next one is rehab. We have to go back to rehab services. This could be found in either a standalone facility or a wing of a hospital or in an SNF or home care. And this rehab is transferable. So you can have rehab in the hospital and then you can go home and you can have the rehab at home. Now, what does rehab do? It helps restore lost skills due to illness or injury and helps to regain and maintain maximum functioning. Now, Medicare will pay if and only if there's an MD plan of care, therapists must be involved, and there must be progress toward meeting specific goals. Medicare ends when the progress goes away. So, and the plateau is reached, and there is no more progress achieved, then the Medicare ends, and so does the rehab. Now, the next slide, we have hospice. Now, hospice is obviously paid by Medicare. It is a condition where supportive care is given to the person in a very final stage of terminal illness. And the focus is on definitely comfort rather than cure. There is no cure modalities implemented. There's no treatments being done. The goal is to be free of pain and live as much as you can, as fully as possible without pain. This care is usually given by trained professionals who know how to relieve pain and provide emotional and psychological and spiritual support. This can be provided in a hospital, in a SNF, or at home, or in a real hospice facility. And we have 4 hospice facilities listed in your handout. Now, when you go into a hospice and Medicare is paying for it, you need to know that there's no more chemo. This is the critical rub for many people who have cancer. They don't want to stop their chemo. You don't stop the chemo, you can't get Medicare to cover for hospice. So that is the conundrum, if you will. And the other fact about hospice, and this was awful, especially when I was a director of nursing, you need to prove somehow that this person is not going to be with us for more than 6 months. That's in the Medicare regulation. So there are ways of documenting that situation, and that is how it's achieved. So it's different now. Hospice care is different than palliative care, which is not covered by Medicare, but it helps manage the side effects of non-terminal but life-limiting chronic diseases like emphysema or COPD, which is, excuse me, very, it's a terrible condition, but it is not necessarily terminal. But still, palliative care needs to be rendered to make that individual's life more comfortable. So the next slide, we look at all the combos out there, and there's lots of them. There's a lot of combos, and these are typically the newer facilities out there. So if you're looking for a new facility, kind of look for a combo. For example, the independent and assisted living combo. That's a facility that has independent and assisted. So if you're independent but your spouse needs assistant, you can go to that facility and get both. And some examples of these are Brookdale North and Arbor Trace and Marbella at Pelican Bay, the Carlisle, that's independent and assisted. The next example of a combo, this is a three-pronged combo. They have independent, assisted, and memory care. And several people here are at one of these facilities, or several of these facilities, but they are commonly known by people who used to live here. And some examples are Keystone Place, Terracina, American House, Coconut Point. One thing I must say about this handout, I did go beyond Collier County with my assessment of what's available, because I wanted to get the southern area of Lee County, just in case there may be facilities up in there that would meet your needs better. Even though they're farther away, they may meet your needs better. So for example, American House, Coconut Point, that's in Lee County. Then the last example is assisted living and memory. Assisted living and memory are examples such as Watercrest, Villa Palms, Brookdale, Naples, the Beach House, Naples. And again, it's assisted living and memory care combined. So if you're at one of those places, or choose one of those places, and there you have some memory care deficits, you need to really make sure that the memory care is being addressed very thoroughly at these places, because that's not their main focus. They do it, but it's not their main focus. I think that I think the next one is continuing care, retirement communities. And you know, I wanted to say something before I get to that one. And it is when I discussed rehab. And there are, and I can't find them, isn't that awful, the rehab, but I think there's only two. But the rehab that I wanted to mention to you is Brookdale. Now, Brookdale rehab is more than the other two, and I know there's just two listed. Brookdale does rehab 3 hours per day, every day. Now, Brookdale is a super source of rehab, because they will do 3 hours of PT, OT, speech, and activities, and so that you will get 3 hours of something every day. And the reason for that is that, and I was there, by the way, I was at Brookdale. I was at Brookdale after my sepsis occurrence. It's where I was on the respirator for 10 days and out like a light, and I couldn't talk, and I couldn't walk, and I couldn't do anything, couldn't think, and it was interesting. But it's Brookdale. Brookdale was the place. I had to be evaluated to get in there, because they needed to know that when you were there, you were going to improve. So that is, I think, something to consider if your needs are tremendous and you really want to come back to not everything, because I know I don't have everything back to where it should be. You can tell by the way I'm talking, but I've got enough. I've got enough to convey to you information that you need to know. So I hope you never need it, but it's there, and it's right near, it's right across the street, right near downtown, up the Naples Hospital, uptown. So it's a tremendous place. Anyway, now lastly, continuing care retirement communities, and I think a lot of you are interested in this. What is this? This is a CCRC. This is very interesting. They're relatively new. I was at a Big 8 accounting firm in the 90s when I started learning about these. The first ones got developed by a religious group in Pennsylvania, and here's how it went. They decided, why should we have an independent housing there, an assisted there, and a memory there, and a skilled there, rehab, hospice, all over the place? Let's make one campus. Let's do it for all the needs that could be possible. Let's have independent, totally independent, and all the way down. However, when you enter a CCRC, you have to be healthy. You can't, well, not totally healthy, but you can't have any medical, mental. Can't have extensive mental, that is, Alzheimer's or dementia conditions at all. They will not accept you. You need to get a physical exam, plus any tests that have been done, any procedures that they may request. You need to have a personal physician confirm your health status. So it qualifies for you to get in. And let me tell you why. Because their goal is to provide the continuum of care consisting of all levels of care in one location so that you can move from place to place easily within the same campus. But they have to do an actuarially, they have to do an assessment as to how long individuals are going to survive, because they have to actuarially turn over. And so they have a unique way of paying for this care. And the next slide tells you the three unique ways after I go through this slide. So this slide tells you about the level of care and comfort and peace of mind for those who go there, because they know that they are there for their life and they don't have to worry about getting sick and going somewhere else. And usually they don't have to worry about the cost of that either, if and only if they're an A. They're qualified as a type A. And I'm going to go through that on the next slide. Now, these options can be very costly. The fee schedules vary tremendously. There's multiple agreement contracts. Some have partial return on your fees for family specified and refundable contracts. Some may be tax deductible in terms of monthly fees. You can detach under Section 213 of the medical expenses. You can deduct up to 20 to 40% of these fees, but only the non-refundable portion can be tax deducted. Now, many have costs of adjustments that can take place as one moves through the continuum, and that's usually the B and C type, and it is extremely difficult to project the long-term care costs of a CCRC. because the payment varies and the diversity of payment options vary. And it's recommended that either a tax and or a legal advisor be used to identify your best options. Now, these facilities are certified and accredited by Joint Commission and by CARF, which is the Rehab Continuing Accrediting Agency, and CMS, which is Medicare and Medicaid. Now, the last slide I have talks about 3 different levels of care, A, B, and C. A is very expensive, the most expensive because it covers everything. It covers everything from housing to SNF care, to hospice care, to rehab care, anything you need, anywhere you need to go within that compound. If it is a SNF facility, and you get better, you can probably, yes, you'll be able to go back to your regular house. Now, it's the most expensive. They absorb the cost and the risk of the long stays. For venues like assisted living and memory care and SNF. Now, B, and I'll tell you who the type A are. The type A facilities, and there are 10 of them listed in your packet. And the type A's are VI Bentley. That's everything is paid for, but it's costly. And keep in mind too, the costs are associated with the size of your unit. There's all different kinds of sizes. And so that can vary the cost as well. Some are 3 bedrooms, some are 1 bedrooms, some are large rooms, and some are smaller rooms. So VI Bentley, which also has a golf course, by the way, very nice. Glenview, the moorings, and there are 3 different types of 3 places for the moorings. Moorings right over here, and then there's one at Gray Oaks, one at Grand Lakes. There's 3 different types of moorings. Gray Oaks is the newest ones, and I don't think Grand Lakes is open yet, but I think it's going to be open soon. And then the terraces, those are all type A. You pay high, your risk is low. Now, modified offers a lower entry fee, but the monthly rate with monthly rates, but limits the time you stay in other services, other venues. You go to a nursing home, a SNF, and you go more, and you're there more than 30 days, you're going to have to pay the monthly rate at the going rate that is the going market rate. So there is one like that, and it's called the Arlington, which is down near Marco, on the way to Marco. And then there are 2, which are type C's. Now, type C's, you're going to say, "Whoa, this is great! It's so low. I mean, the cost per month is so low to buy this place." However, you assume the risk for everything. If you go to a nursing home, if you go to hospice, if you go to rehab, if you go to assisted living, if you go anywhere else but your residence, you are going to pay the market rate for every day you're there. That could really go out of sight. Now, they will charge according to type and the extent of services required. And that's that is a C. And that's Cypress Point and Sienna. Sienna's right down the road from airport. It's very close to here, but be very careful before you sign anything. Know what you're doing when you're signing something there. And then there's Shell Point. Shell Point is the one up in Lee County, and it's a boating community. It's gorgeous. But Shell Point has all A, B, and C. So you can go into Shell Point and you can get an A, which means you pay a lot of money, you're risk-free. Or you can pay less money in a B and you have risk according to how many days you stay where. And then, or a C, where you can pay not that much. It's all high, but not that much, and then you get no coverage for services. So, where do you need to start? You know, how do you sort out all of this stuff? Hopefully, some of the information that you gained from the Blue Zone presentations would help trying to sort out what your needs are and where you want to go. Because you need to do that before you look at this handout, really. And then pick from there what meets your best needs. Identify when do you want to go, where do you want to go. Do the research. You really, really need to do the research before you go anywhere. If you don't have somebody to bring you to these facilities to look at them, please ask somebody. Ask me. I will take you. Call me up. I can go out now. I'm pretty good. I got all the shots. You need to go and see where you're going. And even with the home care part, you need to talk to them and really drill down to who's going to come to your house. You really have to be aggressive with that. Make the site visits, etc. So that's basically it. And I do want to answer any questions that you may have. So if you do have them, please let me know and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. Anybody coming?
No, and to remind everybody at home, you can type in your question on the control panel bar of your GoToWebinar on the right side of your screen. It'll say questions, and there's a field to enter, so please feel free to do so. And we'll give you a minute or so to
find that. Yeah. Again, please feel free to, if you have any questions, call me personally. I have a cell phone, I have a real phone, and they're both on the Stonebridge website and in the book. If you used to have a book, they're still there. And the other comment is, if you don't have a handout, please get one. Please get a handout. I hope they never are helpful to you. Hope you don't need them, but you may, or your relative may, or someone may. So get the handout. It's helpful. It helps sort it all out for you. All right, is anybody still on?
No, I think that's a wrap.
Okay, thank you. That's it. I lost something, but I don't know where it is.